Keep in mind that momentum is not magic. Momentum is not motivation. Momentum is not luck. Momentum is the consistent accumulation of small, intentional actions that align with who you want to become. And the moment that you understand that, you stop waiting for the perfect time and you start creating the perfect conditions. Welcome to the Personal Mastery and Growth Podcast, where we explore the keys to unlocking your full potential and living your best life. I'm your host, Jose Johnson. Whether you're looking to make a breakthrough, overcome a challenge, or simply live with greater clarity, joy, and purpose, you'll find the tools and inspirations you need right here. So let's start your journey towards personal mastery and growth right now. Welcome back to the Personal Mastery and Growth Podcast, your go-to resource for practical tips, insightful research, and inspiring stories to help you unlock your full potential. I'm your host, Jose Johnson, and I'm an expert in the fields of mindfulness, mindset, and peak performance, and I am so excited to have you here with me today. And in today's episode, we're continuing our December Momentum series with a powerful conversation about something we all want more of: momentum. Not the I'll start in January kind, not the once life calms down kind. I'm talking about real, steady, sustainable momentum that actually lasts. Because here's the truth. Most people don't fail because they lack motivation. Most people fail because they lack momentum. Now, there's a huge difference. Motivation is emotional. Momentum is behavioral. Motivation, well, it's a spark. Momentum is a fire. And as we move towards the end of 2025 and look ahead to 2026, the people who will start strong next year aren't the ones who suddenly wake up inspired on January 1st. They're the ones who build small, consistent wins right now. So today we're going to break down what momentum really is, why the brain fights it, and how to build it using small, strategic shifts that compound over time. So let's get moving. Let's start with a little myth busting. People think momentum comes from big breakthroughs, dramatic changes, or massive bursts of motivation. But if you've ever tried to overhaul your entire life on January 1st, you know exactly how long that lasts. About 6 days, if we're being generous. Momentum doesn't come from doing everything. Momentum comes from doing something. Tiny steps. Well, that's what creates progress. And progress creates confidence. And confidence, that fuels consistency. And consistency becomes momentum. You can think of it like pushing a heavy car. The hardest part is getting it to move even 1 inch. But once it starts rolling, one tiny nudge keeps it going. And that's momentum. Now, why does this matter in December? Because December is the perfect time to stall out. You've got holiday stress, schedule disruptions, emotional triggers, exhaustion, and that voice that whispers, just wait until January. But here's the thing. January is not a magical month. Momentum doesn't follow the calendar. It follows your choices. And the choices you make now, today, this week, this month, become the launch pad for how you start 2026. So instead of waiting for the new year to bring motivation, let's learn how to create momentum right where you are. All right, let's look at the neuroscience of momentum. Momentum isn't just inspirational, it's biological. Let's talk brain science for a moment, because understanding the mechanics makes building momentum a whole lot easier. Let's start with how dopamine drives motion. Dopamine isn't the pleasure chemical people think it is. Dopamine is the motivation and pursuit chemical. It's released when you anticipate progress, when you experience small wins, when you check something off your list, when you act on a goal, or when you see evidence of improvement. And the smaller the win, the easier it is to activate. And that's why a micro win, a 2-minute task, a small decision, a single action creates more momentum than waiting for the perfect time or the big breakthrough. All right, number two, the brain loves completion. There's a psychological principle called the goal gradient effect. It shows that people increase their effort and focus as they perceive themselves getting closer to a goal. So, in other words, your brain becomes more engaged once you start. Starting, well, it's the hardest part, but continuing is much easier. Number three, the physics of mindset. Now, here's a simple analogy that you might remember from physics class. Objects at rest tend to stay at rest. Objects in motion tend to stay in motion. And your mindset, well, it's the same way. The hardest part of change is overcoming inertia, that initial resistance, that internal tension, that voice that says, not today. But once you take even the smallest action, your momentum builds, your resistance drops, and your capacity increases. Number four, the confidence action loop. Confidence isn't something you wait for. Confidence is something that you earn. Now, we can think about the loop as action leads to evidence, which leads to confidence, which leads to more action. Now, that loop is the engine of momentum, and that leads us perfectly into how to build it. Hey there, feeling stuck? Spinning your wheels? Are you ready for a breakthrough? Well, then you need to hear this because I've got something that will supercharge your growth this year, and it's called the Mindset Makeover. Now, it's my new book and course that are designed to help you upgrade the mental software that drives your success. And inside, you're going to discover the mindsets that shape every decision, every habit, and every result. And you'll learn the science-backed tools to rewire your thinking for clarity, confidence, and unstoppable momentum. So whether you're aiming higher, trying to break free from old patterns, or finally stepping into that version of yourself that you know that you're capable of becoming, well, this is your launch pad. So don't wait. Head over to josejohnson.com/mindset to grab the book, join the course, or get both together. Again, that's josejohnson.com/mindset. And remember, it is what it is, but it becomes what you make it. And with the Mindset Makeover, you can make it something extraordinary. Look, you don't need a 30-day challenge, a complicated system, or a major life overhaul. You just need small, strategic behaviors that trigger the brain's natural momentum pathways. So let's break down the 5 most effective ones. Number 1, the tiny win strategy. Now, this is the foundation of all momentum. A tiny win is anything that you can complete in 2 minutes or less. Sending an email, making your bed, taking one slow, deep breath, drinking a glass of water, opening a document, doing one rep, writing a single sentence. The brain doesn't care how small the win is. It just cares that there's a win. Tiny wins create emotional traction. Tiny wins feed the action confidence loop. Tiny wins are how you overcome inertia. Number 2, the friction reduction method. If micro momentum is about starting small, friction reduction is about making starting easier. Your brain instinctively avoids resistance. So the more obstacles between you and your desired action, the less likely you are to do it. Friction reduction is the practice of removing those obstacles in advance so your habits become almost effortless. So here's some examples. Lay out your clothes the night before. Put your journal and your pen on your pillow. Set your workout shoes in front of your door. Pre-fill your water bottle. Keep your meditation cushion visible. Prepare your workspace before you end your day. Turn off your notifications. Place your book on your kitchen table. Remove clutter from the places where you want clarity. Now, this strategy works because when the path is smooth, the behavior improves. When the friction drops, the follow through rises. Success becomes less about motivation and more about the environment. Number 3, the momentum window. Your first 30 minutes of the day have a disproportionate impact on your mindset, focus, and energy. One intentional action in that window, even a small one, creates a ripple effect that shapes the rest of the day. Now, this is why I always say, don't start your day with consumption, start your day with creation. Checking emails, scrolling social media, or jumping into other people's demands puts you into reactive mode. But doing one small intentional action puts you into creator mode. Now, this could be as simple as writing for 2 minutes, doing some light stretching, reading something uplifting, setting your top 3 priorities for the day, taking a mindful breath, making the bed with presence. The point isn't the size of the action, it's the direction. Number 4, identity-based actions. Momentum isn't just about what you do, it's about who you're becoming. So instead of asking, what should I do today? Ask, what would the future version of me do today? Future you makes different decisions. Future you operates from clarity, confidence, and alignment. Future you doesn't wait for motivation. Future you creates it. Identity-based actions might include showing up 5 minutes early, speaking more intentionally, setting a boundary, choosing nourishment over numbing, ending your day with reflection instead of avoidance. When you take even one identity-aligned action, you reinforce a future-focused version of yourself, and that creates momentum far beyond the action itself. And identity drives behavior more powerfully than motivation ever will. And number 5, the strategic microshift. A microshift is a small adjustment that creates a big impact over time. It can be internal or it can be external. Things like changing one word in your self-talk, changing the layout of your workspace, changing what you prioritize, changing your environment, changing your evening routine, changing the story you tell yourself about your abilities. Micro shifts compound. Compounding, that creates momentum. And momentum creates transformation. So here's your challenge for the week. Simple, powerful, and momentum focused. For the next 7 days, complete one tiny win every morning. Just takes 2 minutes or less. Choose one identity-based action daily. In other words, act as the future you at least once. And track your momentum. Write down your wins, no matter how small. And end your day with this reflection. What small action today moved me forward? Now, if you do these consistently for just 1 week, your emotional and your behavioral momentum going into 2026 will be completely different. Keep in mind that momentum is not magic. Momentum is not motivation. Momentum is not luck. Momentum is the consistent accumulation of small, intentional actions that align with who you want to become. And the moment that you understand that, you stop waiting for the perfect time and you start creating the perfect conditions. Your momentum, it starts now, not January 1st, not after the holidays, not someday, now. All right, thank you so much for joining me today. And next week, we're going to be diving into episode 61, Break Free from the Expectation Trap. And this is the episode you didn't know you needed before 2026 arrives. All right, so if you enjoyed today's episode, share it with someone who could use a momentum boost right now. And remember, it is what it is, but it becomes what you make it. So make it great. Thanks for tuning in. Before we wrap up, I just want to remind you that the information shared in this podcast is for educational and informational purposes only. It is not intended as a substitute for professional advice or treatment. While the content of this podcast is based on research and personal experience, everyone's situation is unique, and the advice given may not be applicable to all. Always consult a qualified professional before making significant changes in your life. The Personal Mastery and Growth podcast is recorded at the So Good Media Studios, located in the Candy Factory, a co-working space in Lancaster, Pennsylvania.